Hi, good evening. This is Pastor David here, and welcome to another session of Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. And today we'll be talking about what it means to internalize the teachings. Okay, let me start first, as usual, and see who is online and what's going on. Okay, nobody's on, but anyway, it's this session is inspired by a question to Pastor Naral on his previous session with regards to what it means to internalize the teachings. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, there is nobody. Got two. Anyway, welcome. Hi, Yu Sing. And the two other people who joined. I can't see your names, but yes. Mr. Lam, hello. So today is going to be a simple, short session to understand what it means to internalize the teachings or actualize the teachings, or to gain a realization of the teachings, how to go about doing that. So if you, for whatever reason, if you have any questions or anything you want to put in, please share. And if you think otherwise, because this is basically what I understand about what it means to gain a realization, because I don't think people fully understand that. All right, so let's begin. Oh, hi, Pastor Hani. Nice, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's raining now in Kechara Forest Retreat, so it's quite nice, pleasant. And let's begin first by the basic understanding of internalizing the teachings. Okay, what I mean by what I mean internalizing the teachings or actualizing the teachings, as the words kind of imply, meaning that it's not just an understanding. It's not an understanding of the teachings. It's not an intellectual understanding, because we can study anything, math, science. You can study any aspects of the Buddhist teachings, and it just remains knowledge in us. It doesn't actually move us, change us, or inspires us in any way. So that's not what I mean. It's not an intellectual understanding of the teachings, because anybody can gain an intellectual understanding of the teachings once you fully grasp the teachings. You can, basic, knowledge is knowledge. So what I mean internalizing is that when you have realized it, when it becomes a part of you, when it inspires you, it moves you, when it changes you, when your mind transforms because of what you have learned. And that's what I mean. So today's session will be all about this. And because our time today will be a little bit short, and so it'll be quite simple. I think a lot of you already, some of you have, especially the older students, already know or have an inkling of what it means already. And it also, the different expressions of actualizing the teachings, gaining attainments, what it means by gaining attainments or gaining realization of the teachings, this is the same thing. So how Rinpoche defined it is like this. When you have gained a realization, understanding, or actualized the teachings, or internalized the teachings, you do not have to purposely program yourself. Oh, I have to put a motivation, I want to do this, or intend to have, come up with an intent or motivation that you want to do this for this. You automatically act out of it. It is spontaneous from you. Just like when you've realized that, let's say if you realize that I can't think of any examples right now. Let's say if you realize that any example, I'm trying to jog my mind now of an example. Just like, let's say you wearing masks. Right now, it's the COVID virus thing, and then wearing masks, you understand it. But if you have not realized it, it's just, you get bored, you get frustrated, and then you can't breathe, and then you find, what's the point, and then we have all sorts of excuses. If you have not realized it, the full impact, the full understanding that wearing the mask protects not only you protect other people as well from your from your germs. So what happens is, when you have realized it, even the difficulty that you go through is not a problem. It's not a problem because you realize that you're protecting others and yourself. And it's not a chore. You don't mind the stuffiness of that, because there's a high purpose in this. So what happens is, you have realized it. If you understood it, it's just, you still find it a chore. You have a problem. Sometimes you do it. Sometimes you forget. So sometimes you forget. Sometimes you think it's not important. Sometimes, who cares? You have this ups and downs. And it's just like many of us, our practice is just the same way. So if you realize the importance of the Dharma and understood the Dharma, sometimes then it becomes a part of your life. If you have not realized the Dharma, the importance of the Dharma, or gain any form of deeper understanding, realization of, just the Dharma, okay, in general, then your practice will go up and down, and doubts can arise. Sometimes when you feel like it, you do it. You're interested, you're inspired. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes, people can distract you. So just the same way, it goes both ways. All right. Hi, Sharon. Good evening. Hi, Beng Kui and Corinne Trang. I can't see the video or hear anything right now. Perhaps you try refreshing the page. Oh, well, you can't hear me. Sorry. Okay, at least Beng Kui has responded to her. So, what it means, okay, to internalize, to actualize the teachings, is that it has sunk in. The teachings have sunk in. The impact has sunk in. The meaning has become a part of you. It is your behavior. Rinpoche says your behavior, everything about you, comes from this realization, this actualization, this internalization. Oh God, I hope that's a word for that. And what happens is, you act out of this realization. Your whole actions. So just like that, there's some teachings in the Buddhist teachings, we take vows. We take vows, and because the vows are to bless us and to become a guideline, a living guideline for us. But once we have realized the vows, there are beings who have realized the vows, who've gained higher realization, and the vows is not something that guides us. It's not something that tells us what's right, what's wrong, or what we should do. The vows has become a part of them. They act out of the vows, Rinpoche said. So they don't need vows, actually. Their whole behavior is already a reflection of the vows. So they don't need to take vows. But many high lamas, many highly attained beings take vows anyway. So to continue a specific a blessing of the lineage, meaning from the teacher to students, so that when the teacher passes on the vows to someone, the blessings will flow through, and they will get the full benefit of the vows when they hold it. So, but many high lamas, many attained beings do not need to hold the vows. Actually, their whole behavior, their whole demeanor, is spontaneous from them. Okay, so that's what it means to have gain realization. Corinne, not a good connection on my side this morning. Oh, too bad. Maybe later or at a different time you can rewatch the video. I hope you can hear this, or maybe someone will tell you. Good evening to other people. Yiling, Jerry, I don't know how to pronounce this. Boy, MJ, Medj. Elsie, good evening. Welcome. Kinho and Losang something, Losang Sangdrup, I think. Losang Sangdrup. Eric, Yusing. Oh, there's a question. Hi, Yusing. Pastor, can it be tiny little bits of realization? Does it has to be a big wow moment? And after realizing, can you lose it? Okay, that's a very good question. Those two questions are very good. No, it does not necessarily have to be wow. I'm not talking of ultimate enlightenment. I'm talking of realization, small realizations. Let's say realization of the importance of Dharma. Let's say the realization of the importance of doing our sadhana daily. Because some people, it's a chore, it's difficult to maintain because of our work schedule. Some people find it that they cannot go a day without doing their sadhana, and when they don't, they feel uncomfortable and they feel something's not right. It's become a part of them. And so I'm just giving you examples. Some people, when they've eaten, like they have become vegetarian for a long time, the moment food that is served that has any scent of meat, it becomes difficult to partake. It's almost repulsive because the smell of meat. So they've become accustomed to vegetarianism. I don't think. Just giving you something that give you an idea what realization or the teach of the teachings is, and then for some people it's their teacher. So what happens is when they think of their teacher, even when their teacher, let's say the teacher who they understood the importance of the teacher, and they remember the kindness of the teacher, they meditated on the kindness of the teacher, and they have accepted the teacher. And even when the teacher scolds them or tells them something they don't like to hear, they won't focus on being scolded. They will focus on the teacher's good qualities. They'll remember that. And then so whatever the teacher scolds, they will take it as a blessing and as an instructions on what they did wrong, and so they will change their ways. I'm giving you examples. I'm just on top of my head. All right. So Mr. Lam says, how do we know that we become somehow internalize the Dharma? Oh, very good. How do we know when we have changed our lives around? Our behavior around. The first few signs is like this. We feel it's important, and then we want to know more, and then we learn. These are from what I know from experience and from observing people in the Dharma for many years. So what happens is they learn first. They find it important to learn. Okay, so then they learn, and then after that, their behavior will change. Perhaps they were very angersome. Perhaps they're very jealous. Perhaps they're very, very distracted. Meaning they like to go party, they go business, make a lot of money. They like to dress fancy. They like fancy cars. Then over time, as they learn the Dharma, they lessen it. So when they lessen it, they do not necessarily make a fanfare out of it, but people automatically would notice. People have changed. So just giving you very simple examples. And ultimately, Rinpoche said, is when you have find that the Dharma is important, more important than your distractions. This is, as far as I remember, Rinpoche said, when you find the Dharma, meaning your sadhana, meaning your time you dedicate to the center, learning, whatever, is more important than your distractions, meaning the time you go out, the time you go and have fun, the time that you allocate for other things. So you lessen that. It's not that you give it up completely, it's you lessen. And over the years, you do more Dharma. Your Dharma increases over time. All right. Brian Hugh, good evening. Good evening to you. Also, what I wanted to share was a few things. How we go about internalizing the Dharma, that's very important. I mean, immediately, the easiest is everybody will know how to is first learn the Dharma. So learning is very important. And then in the monastery, you know what they do, how they learn the Dharma in the monastery is few things. Memorization. So what they do is, as when they're very young, they're given huge amount of text, and they have to recite it. No. They recite it, and they recite it out loud, quite loudly, in fact. And so what happens is, there's a trick in the monastery. When you recite out aloud anything, you automatically, when you hear yourself, automatically you remember it quicker than normal than if you try to memorize it by inside, quietly. And then so the first thing is memorization, and then later on what they do is they enter into debate. So debate is defined like this. In the monastery, it's between a non-Buddhist and a Buddhist. So they would debate a point, for example, impermanence. All phenomena is subject to impermanence. So the non-Buddhists say no, the Buddhists will say yes. And then they'll have their own points, and then they debate. So the point of the debate is this. The point of the debate is to have the truth. A truth is a three-dimensional thing. Okay, so when you debate, you come from different angles. People, the person, the non-Buddhist will ask you, or throw questions at you from different angles at what you have presented. So you have to defend the truth, your point, the point as defined as the truth. So from different angles. So what happens is this: when you have gained an understanding of the truth from different angles, automatically it will sink into your mind, the full understanding, and the full understanding will eventually become realization. Why I say that is because this is what Rinpoche said. There are many monks, especially in the upper levels of in the monastery, where they study philosophy, they study emptiness, they study the middle way teachings, which is on emptiness. And what happened is there's some masters who had gained complete realization of the teachings, of that set of teachings, on the debate floor when they debate, when they debate. So when they've gained realization, some of them, they enter into meditation, and they get into an absorption meditation, and there's some science and then after that they've gained full realization of, for example, emptiness. So the reason why they're able to achieve that is because of debate. And I know some of us, but how we don't know how to debate. What can be done? What can be done is, there's a few ways to go around that, to apply the basics of debate. When you're in debate, you are looking at the teachings on different angles. So hence, what we can do is, although we don't have debate classes at home and all, what you can do is you can listen to the teachings, different sets of teachings on the same topic, and you can. Different sets of teachings, what happens is some of them approach the subject from a slightly different angle, and Rinpoche has given many sets of teachings from various angles of one particular subject, on few subjects. So you gain that. Another way is sharing the Dharma. You do not need to be a pastor. You do not need to be a senior Dharma brother and sister to be qualified to share the Dharma. Whatever you learn, you can share. You can share with your loved ones. You can share with your friends. When the time is right, of course, when an opportunity arises, you can share with people, relatives, friends. And when you share, people, more likely than not, they might pose a question to you. And that's when you learn, because actually a lot of what I've learned in my ability in my role as a pastor to teach is when people ask questions, and and especially Rinpoche when he teaches, his method especially to some of us, the closest students and the pastors, is he will pose a lot of questions to juggle our memory, to make us think. And it will be questions that are not, it requires us to think. It's not something that, oh, you pick up a book and the answer is there. It requires us to think. It's common sense. Sometimes you just you just need to apply a bit of logic. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, let me know. To understand the reason why Buddha's teachings fascinate a lot of people is because it's subtle. Subtle means is you cannot pick up the book and then understand it immediately. Okay, so a lot of times, a lot of teachings requires a little bit of thinking, a little bit of contemplation, a little bit of meditation. Meditation is another thing that can be applied to learning. It's because when we've come to an understanding of a particular topic, and what happens is you can do a formal set of contemplation where you sit down and you contemplate on perhaps a topic of impermanence, and you contemplate on a particular, like an impermanence of your body. So you meditate on, there are visualizations like where your body is in a coffin and it's rotting away and it is going through various stages of decomposition. So that's where you gain over time you gain a deeper understanding, and it turns to realization on impermanence. Okay, Yiling says, isn't there a danger of sharing the wrong information when our knowledge is not sufficient? That's why you share what you know. You don't share what you don't know. You share what you know. So the thing is, when you share what you know, there's no danger there. And if you are wrong, just apologize and correct yourself. I even till now I do make mistakes. Sometimes I make mistakes and I just apologize. And it's human to err. So do not fear that. That's the thing. So, for a lot of people, the fear of sharing the Dharma or teaching the Dharma or whatever it is they fear to make a mistake and to look bad. And especially a pastor, Pastor David made a mistake. Everybody's going to highlight that. Yeah, so yes, I made a mistake, So just accept. And for me, what happens is sometimes people add to what I have to say, and wonderful, And sometimes I forget to mention certain things, so it's just apologize and okay, just add to it. So it shouldn't be a problem. Most important is a lot of people love the higher teachings of the Buddha, like emptiness and the middle way view, on Tantra and on philosophy, on the higher teachings. But there are a lot of teachings that are simple, everyday, practical Dharma, and which I'm usually sharing with you guys. You don't see me talking about emptiness and great compassion and wisdom and how to gain the many stages of wisdom. I don't, because I don't have those, I'm not familiar with those teachings, and I wouldn't dare teach you, and I don't want to mislead you down the wrong path, okay? So I teach you what I know. I teach you what I share with you what I know and what Rinpoche has taught me, and I don't, as far as I try not to make up anything and base it on Rinpoche's teachings or something I've read from authentic sources. All right? So it shouldn't be a problem. Anybody, as long as you're in a Dharma for like a couple of years, you should be able to share already. 1-2 years, you should be able to share. Don't have to be complicated Dharma. It's how to set an altar is wonderful. Once you know the meaning of the offerings, share it. How to set up the altar, or share about Dorje Shugden, how beneficial Dorje Shugden is. Who is Dorje Shugden? Why is he beneficial? What is he, what does he represent? What does he protect? How does he help you? Those are wonderful, and those you don't need, very, very high understanding or realization of emptiness to teach, to share, So that's how we can share. And then from sharing, we gain a better understanding. People will pose questions, and sometimes they'll ask higher questions. Maybe you don't know. Sometimes when people ask questions we cannot answer. Many times people ask me questions I couldn't answer. So what I do is I say, oh, I'll get back to you if I think I can find it. If sometimes I really don't think I can find it, the answer, and I say I don't think so, but I'll try to look, and then get back to the person, you know. So the idea about the teachings is to internalize the teachings, is to approach it from different angle, and that is done in the monastery when they do debate. So when they do debate, it's very fast. Rinpoche said they to stress the point, they clap their hands, and then they'll shoot question one after the question, and then you have to answer fast. You know, it's lightning speed apparently. And how I know this is because Rinpoche did a little mini debate in English, of course, with us, and we could barely keep up with Rinpoche. And a good debater does not necessarily need to debate it from the Buddhist perspective only. A good debater can turn it around as a non-Buddhist, and they can. Rinpoche said that, like for example, his teacher Song Rinpoche, he can prove you that white is black and black is white. He's such a good debater, he can do that. So even something that's black, he can through the power of his debate, his logic and reasoning, he can prove to you and force you to say it's actually white, but although it's black. So that is a good debater. And what it means is that when you have that skill, you're able to gain a deeper understanding of a particular topic. And as a person who knows the Dharma, who's sharing the Dharma, they're able to present the Dharma according to their needs, according to the disposition of the person. And that is something everybody knows that Rinpoche has. And unfortunately, I don't, but we're all learning, you know. Hi, Anne. I don't see any more questions. So it's about 9 today. I've got about like 10-15 more minutes to go before I have to end the session. I hope I've impressed upon you guys what it means to internalize the teachings. So I'll go to do a little recap. All right. Internalizing teachings is synonymous. It means the same thing as actualizing the teachings. It means that you have realized the teachings. It means that you have gained some sort of attainments from the teachings. Meaning, what that means, the teachings is not knowledge. It's not sitting in your head. It is actually, it has actually sunk into you and it's become a part of you. So your behavior and your likes and dislikes, your actions reflect the teachings automatically without thinking. You don't, a lot of us, we have to set our motivation why we want to do something, or when we do dedication, when we do something good. So it's not like that, it's something that's very automatic. So how does it reflect automatically in us? Is that when, example, what that means would be like when we have realized the teachings of impermanence. So we've realized the importance of the Dharma. We've realized the benefit of a teacher and how he has changed our lives, and what it means to have a teacher, a spiritual guide. What it really, really means for our practice is not just a person teaching us the Dharma on the computer screen. It's more than that. It's a part of our practice. It's a reflection of our practice, how we devote to the teacher. So when we have studied the teachings, then we know all the various aspects of, for example, how to devote to the teacher, what it means. And then when we have realized it, we put it into practice. It becomes a part of us. And our devotion is so strong that it will never waver. And for a lot of us, when we have strong devotion to a teacher, it goes from one life to another. So in future lives, sometimes just upon sight, when we see the teacher of our lineage, your lineage, or the teacher's incarnation, faith will arise from you. You have no idea, no knowledge of the Dharma. It just comes to you naturally from a young age. So how to get that? is that you have to do it right now. You have to gain full confidence in teacher. And all of us do not have 100% confidence. In order to do that, you need to meditate. There's practices to do where you contemplate on the good qualities of your teacher and combine it with your practice. All right? Yu Sing says, is there a risk of wrongly internalizing something, a mistaken view of something? Oh yes, we already have been doing that. We already have, generally before the Dharma, we already have wrong view of things. And right now, when you learn the Dharma, you chip away at the wrong view and with an understanding of the truth. So don't worry. No, the teachings are quite straightforward. It's always about compassion and about wisdom. We may not have fully grasped the finer aspects of the teachings, but the basic ones we already know. So you can't go wrong about compassion, about kindness, about developing devotion to a teacher. You cannot go wrong one. It's just how you go about it and how to follow all the steps. So it's all written down. I mean, it's in the Lamrim. That's what the Lamrim is about. The Lamrim is the arrangement of the entire set of all the topics, all the major teachings arranged in a step-by-step. Very easy to follow. Actually, it's very easy to follow. And once you follow one after another, maybe some will be hazy, but you just focus more, you learn more, then, eventually it will become clearer. So you will not go wrong when you followed a set example, a set way, the Lamrim, which is already proven that it works. It's proven. There are, for example, Kechara Pabongka Rinpoche gained his realization through the Lamrim. It is said in his biography. He gained realization from the Lamrim. So if he can gain realization from the Lamrim, so can we if we follow his footsteps. But he did it quite. But he put in a lot of effort. So, and if we cannot follow after him, there are many types of Lamrims, many lengths of Lamrims, 3 principal powers, which are shorter, many sets of teachings. And Rinpoche's teachings are even easier in the sense that they relate to us personally. Every set of teachings is a part of the Lamrim. So it's just how much of the Lamrim it is, that's all. All right? So when it's already set, it's proven. So that you cannot go wrong there. It's just how well you understand, how well it sinks in. That's the thing. So in order for it to sink in order for us to gain a full understanding, we have to approach it from different angles. Then we gain a clearer understanding. So in order to gain a clear understanding is that we have to learn. It begins by learning first. So we don't look at higher teachings first. Don't look at emptiness and tantra and philosophy and different views, Madhyamika, Prasangika, blah blah blah, all the gikas. We don't have to do that right now. Let's not go so far. Let's start with the Lamrim. Let's start with the basic teachings first. And once we have mastered it, it's not a problem. All right? Okay. So basically, I think I pretty covered everything. One is you share the Dharma. You learn through sharing the Dharma when people ask you questions, and you learn. Because Rinpoche always does that, and with us. And that is why Rinpoche always, when you are close to Rinpoche, the benefit is not that, wow, we gain so many blessings, we become automatically Buddhas. Unfortunately, I don't see any halo yet. I'm not glowing, I don't sit on an altar. There's no lotuses under me. So the benefit is that Rinpoche always asks us questions every time. And he posed a lot of different questions about the teachings to make sure we understand. Because a lot of the time when Rinpoche goes on and on for a long time, our mind wanders. Mine often wanders sometimes, and so when Rinpoche asks questions, so we are forced to pay attention. So a lot of times we are not paying full attention. It's not that we don't understand; we're just not paying full attention. All right. So when we don't pay full attention, we don't get it. Then you cannot say it's the teachings that's too deep or we have no. And of course, there's one more last thing. Merits. Merits is a very important aspect of internalizing the teachings. Sorry, I neglected to say that earlier. Merits, I won't go into what's merits right now because it's another whole topic in itself. But what I want to explain is that in order for the teachings to sink in, we need merits. And in order for us to gain merits, we have to do formal practice. We have to do our sadhanas. We have to do the offerings on the altars. We have to, we have to do practices, prostrations, circumambulations, offerings. These are the general ways, the basic ways that you can generate merit. And when you make the offering, when you do your sadhana, when you do your practice, the more you focus, the more you pay attention, the more merits you collect. So when you collect the merits, where does the merit go? When you learn the Dharma, it will help you to gain quicker understanding and realization eventually. So if you're wondering why is it sometimes, no matter how so there are some teachings when you keep going back and forth over it, in different teachings, on this same topic of the teachings, and you find it inaccessible. For example, the higher teachings. Some of us are great intellectuals who love emptiness. They want to study it, and they want to and it is still inaccessible. It is still have not fully realized it because it needs a lot of merits. The higher teachings need a lot of merits. Rinpoche said this in a monastery, as you go up the classes, the highest class is on Madhyamika and emptiness, okay? And what happens is when you go up, you see less and less students. And those who succeed to the highest classes usually are those who study by day, and by evening and night, they're either debating or they're doing prostrations. So they do a lot of prostrations, or they do retreats, or they do mandala offerings. So they do a lot of practice in order to supplement, in order to generate the merits, so that when they study, when they contemplate, when they meditate, or when they debate, or when they learn the teachings from their masters, the teachings will come to them. The realization will come to them, and they will be able to pass the exam. So the higher teachings require a lot of merits, and then depends on us. Some of us, maybe even the intermediate teachings, we have trouble grasping it. It's because of this. And beyond all that, devotion to the teacher is one of the best ways to gain merits. Okay, let me see. There's some questions that came in. When do the preliminary practices come in? Actually, the preliminary practices is not so much as to actualize the teachings. The preliminary practices is actually designed for preparation for Tantra. When you want to gain higher Tantric initiation, because Tantra is a quick method towards enlightenment. The ultimate goal of Tantric practice is enlightenment. It's not supernatural powers, it's not controlling spirits, it's not gaining rainbows around you or halos. It is gain full enlightenment. So because of that, it requires a lot of merits, even just to gain the practice. So in order for your practice to be successful in Tantra, it is recommended you complete your preliminary practices. And I'm talking about the higher Tantra, for example, like Vajrayogini initiation. So if you completed your preparation for Tantra, and when you receive an initiation and you do a practice, and you do her retreats, then you'll see very quick results. If you don't, it's not that it will not be effective, it's just it will be slower. All right? And we may have encountered obstacles for some people. So LC Toy says, yes, I agree, merits is so important. And then Yiling says, can you gain merits with preliminary practices? Oh yes, that's the whole idea of preliminary practice. It's to purify your karma and gain merits. Accumulate merits, that's the whole idea. And especially mandala offerings, it's just pure merits. Prostration is merits and purification. Depends on the practice, but generally all of them is any practice associated with the Buddha, any practice, whether it's prostration, whether it's making offerings, everything is for merits. Anything in relation to a Buddha will result in merits, especially when you generate the intent and you do the practice correctly, and then you complete it with a good dedication, with full concentration, you'll gain a lot of merits. All right? Any other questions about this? So merits is very, very important for. So it's gaining a thorough understanding of a subject from different angles. It is putting yourself in a not putting yourself in a spot, but putting yourself to share the Dharma with others. Having the courage to do so and learning through the process. Because you see, when you share the Dharma, two things happen. When you share the Dharma, one is that you put yourself where people will ask you questions that you may not be able to answer, and then you learn when you do your homework to answer the question. Another one is you remind yourself. You see, a lot of the times when we learn the Dharma, over time, when we don't practice it, or we don't access it, or we don't think about it, it gets forgotten. I forget a lot of the earlier teachings that Rinpoche has given me. So I have to. The good thing about today is that a lot of the teachings are recorded. It's in books, it's in YouTube videos. All we have to do is click play from time to time. You know, you click play on the YouTube and listen to the Rinpoche's teachings, or you go on Rinpoche's blog and read. Some of us like to read, some of us like to listen. Whatever is your cup of tea, that's excellent way. So when we go back to the teachings, so when we share the teachings, we help ourselves to remind ourselves. You know, it reinforces the teachings in us. It reminds us, and it helps us open up to questions, so we will learn it from another angle. Perhaps sometimes people will share from a different angle that we have never approached it from, and then that's wonderful, you know. Okay, I have one last question. If any of you have any questions. Okay, there is one question here. So if someone break the 6 preliminary practices, can we restart again? The preliminary practice, what I don't understand. I guess you mean when you do the as a retreat and then you break the retreat, then yeah, of course you can restart, no problem. Restarting is not a problem. It's just that when you break it and then you continue on and you think it's continuation, then it's not. When you're in retreat, you cannot break the retreat and continue. Breaking means you stop for 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and then you want to go on. No, it becomes, when you start again, it's really start again. You know, the whole thing again. All right? So the idea of this was inspired by a question, and I hope everybody has a clearer understanding of what it means for the teachings to be a part of you, to change you. Because a lot of people, I notice in myself and other people, that we may be in Dharma for many, many years, but a lot of teachings are just stored away in our heads. It's just knowledge. So it's time that we put it into practice. You know, it's time to either remind ourselves, remember, refresh, and put into practice, meaning go for retreats, meaning share with other people, meaning sometimes we have to counsel people. You see, sharing the Dharma doesn't mean, oh, you give them a Dharma talk. Sometimes you have to give advice in dealing with certain life situations to a friend, a family member, an acquaintance, a lover, a spouse, whoever it is. Sometimes, and then most important is if we have studied the Dharma, then we know how to give advice from a Dharmic perspective. Don't just give advice from the worldly perspective. Give advice also from the Dharma perspective, and as it will especially be useful in dire circumstances, in times of need. All right, because sometimes, you know, for example, like, you know, in the times of loss, in the times of, you know, when a person who's grieving, Dharma is a wonderful way to help people. All right, so I think I've come to the end of my session. I see no questions now. I hope everybody is clear what I want to share. And thank you very much. Signing off from Kechara Forest Retreat. Let's do dedication. Janju Sencho Rinpoche, Magibana Gyuji, Gebaya Mami Payang, Godin Godu Power Show, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Magibana Gyuji, Gebaya Mami Payang, Godin Godu Power Show, Dazo Gene Saba Gewadi, Tanandro Gunla Kabanda, Jebo Jozo Lozon Drapa, Tamping Borindo Sao She Show, Kewa Gunto Yana Lamanda, Jeremy Joki Pala Long Chojing, Sada Langi on Tenrochoni, Doji Changi Kopa Yuto Show, Gewadi Yudoda, Lama Sangi Juni, Jua Chika Malupa, De Salagopa Show, Chijabo Songa. Peola, Kechara Majiwadan, Tuni Maloshan Show, Dada Shangi Duzundan, George Letani, Kiawa Lozon Drapa, Tamparin Vagu, Nimodala Santala, Nemigoyan Talashi, Yasantatu Dalapel, Controson Jingulo, Controson Otoso, Controson Chashi Show, Jazun Lamakuso Rapton, Namkachi Juki Padang, Los Antami Drummond Samsung, Drummond Tato Negish, Gandhi Rawi, Coalition Gam, the Penn Del Malukon, in the Chenres at 1,000 Gaso, Shabu City Badu Dan Yuji, Home Tobing Malupa, Deni Dallas Adoso, Gordon Temple Lochonam, Geba Suji Shukte. So, don't forget of Pastor Neral's homework. He asked you to log down your daily activities in good, bad, and neutral, if I'm not mistaken. Don't forget that. He's going to discuss with you tomorrow. All right. Good night, everybody.